capsule.com or just stop by.
Welcome to another daily time capsule.
Short of Fire Island on the south, we are Long Island's all-news station.
The News Watch never stops.
Just a quick snippet
10-10 wins
of today's news. This is a daily time capsule.
Good morning. It's sunny, 45 degrees at 7:40 on Tuesday, the 4th of February. I'm Paul Murnane. Here's what's happening. China responds as U.S. tariffs kick in. Canada and Mexico have a 30-day break from the Trump tariffs. One person dead at an overnight crash on the FDR near 73rd Street. Two serious injuries in an overnight fire that burned through an apartment building in Flushing, Queens. Tears at a vigil in Bergen County for local victims of the Washington plane crash. We'll try again as Blue Origin, the other space company backed by a billionaire, tries for a launch later this morning. In sports, the Knicks staged a late comeback. They beat the Rockets in a thriller at the Garden. 10-10 wins, AccuWeather, emerging sun and a growing wind with a high of 45. And yes, some snow and ice and rain in the forecast to tell you about, too. Here's News Time 7:41. Finally, some good news along the east side this morning. Traffic and Transit and Andre Farrow.
Yeah, they have opened the southbound side of the FDR coming down the Triborough, past the Triborough on the southbound Home River Drive heading towards the FDR. So you can use it now in the southbound direction. But northbound, we're still waiting for it to reopen. As you travel northbound on the FDR, you will be diverted off over by 63rd Street. And because of that diversion, you're sitting in a parking lot basically north of 14th Street on the FDR. So no good if you're already committed to it. You're going to be sitting there for a while, unfortunately. The First Avenue or go with the West Side Highway to avoid this slowdown. Now, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Outbound George still working on a crash. 2 lanes affected. You have delays on the Cross Bronx that go back to the Bruckner interchange. Now, the inbound George, about 50 minutes. Eastbound 46 and the southbound Palisades ramp is all backed up. And this crash on the upper level heading towards New Jersey is also having an effect on the southbound Henry Hudson Parkway coming down towards K-Pop. That's a huge delay as well. Inbound at the Lincoln Tunnel, still working on a crash over by Kennedy Boulevard with delays that go back to the Eastern Spur. Holland is brutal because the Pulaski Skyway and eastbound 139 through Jersey City is bumper to bumper. You're looking at 35 to 40 minutes easily. Next report, 7:51. Andre Farrow, 10-10 wins on 92.3 FM.
The Trump tariffs kicked in as scheduled at midnight on goods from China. And there's been a quick response. Beijing announced some of its own. 15% on coal, 10% on crude oil, others on other U.S. goods. But there's breathing room for Mexico and Canada after separate conversations involving their leaders and the White House.
Late Monday afternoon, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged to strengthen security at the northern border in exchange for the pause. Earlier, Mexico pledged to ramp up security at the southern border.
They've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country.
That's Erica Brown reporting from the White House. But as you heard, the clock is ticking for Mexico and Canada.
The president's saying that these tariffs are delayed. But of course, there's a lot of stuff that could happen in the span of 1 month, let alone just in one day. So it is very possible that these tariffs could be avoided altogether. But President Trump has made it very clear that he believes tariffs are a very powerful tool. He said so himself. They're powerful both economically and in getting, quote, everything else you want.
That's Selena Wang reporting. Wins News Time 7:44. As you heard Andre mention just a few minutes ago, there's one southbound lane.
Got a little blurriness going there. Sorry about that, guys.
It was deadly on the FDR Drive.
This was a single car crash here in the northbound lanes of the FDR and a very...
The important thing here is the audio, right?
Investigators trying to piece this together. A Tesla first hitting a guardrail at high speed, flipping over and bursting into flames about 3 this morning. Both driver and passenger ejected into the roadway. That ejection killing the driver, who's a woman. The man who survived is 26 years old, taken to Cornell Burn Unit in serious condition. The debris field, which is lining the roadway, I'd have to say is at least 100 yards. This white Tesla in a number of pieces, as the NYPD Highway Investigation Team needing hours to try to figure this all out. Glenn Shuck, 10-10 wins, 92.3 FM here at the accident scene at the FDR.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's a very quick snippet of today's news as broadcast live on February 4, 2025. The purpose of this video, as you know, is to document history for future generations. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.